Strikes against ISIS continuing in Iraq and Syria as militants push deeper and deeper into Iraq, targeting government strongholds. Islamic fighters already in control of major parts of northern and eastern Syria, now targeting the only major northern city still in government hands. They're also trying to capture a major airbase in eastern province, and threatening to take over Libya. Well, joining me now is Fox News Middle East and terror analyst Walid Fares. Walid, good day to you.
Good day to you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. All right, so this seems like a classic case of a power vacuum and what happens, the civil war in Syria, ISIS taking advantage of it. The regime has been losing bases in the north. Will ISIS eventually topple the regime?
Well, just in the last 48 hours while we are celebrating Christmas, ISIS is moving, as you just said in the introduction, seizing airports or airfields in the northeastern part of Syria, getting very close from a large city controlled by the regime. Will they be able to seize the entire Syrian country and topple the regime? I don't think so. But they will control so much of the territory. Of course, they have competitors such as al-Nusra and still the fledgling FSA organization. So we're going to see a sort of a mosaic in Syria controlled by many organizations, and still the regime will be in Damascus and the northwestern part of the country.
All right, so Turkey, in talking about negotiations and working with the U.S. government, Turkey has basically been telling the U.S. government that they want a commitment to oust Assad. In your opinion, which is more of a threat to the U.S., ISIS or the Assad regime?
What a question. It's all debates around the world about regime of Assad or ISIS. Well, ISIS, of course, is on the offensive. We need to contain them first. But if the Assad regime wins this game as well, they are inviting Hezbollah from Lebanon, the Pasdaran, Iranian Revolutionary Guards. Iran is developing its nukes. So either way, it's a major problem. What we need to focus on is neither ISIS or Assad, but the moderates. Unfortunately, the moderates, we've been very late in supporting them, and they are losing the ground in Syria at least.
Okay, so let's talk about Russia for a minute. Vladimir Putin has been Assad's chief political ally, has been trying to convene peace talks between mainstream opposition in Syria and the regime, not so successful in the past.
Look, I think that the negotiations between the Assad regime and its opposition are not going to be successful, unfortunately. We missed the train or the boat in 2011 when we were still in Iraq. The Assad regime was under pressure, was isolated. Once we didn't do much in 2011, what's happening now is that the Assad regime is afraid of negotiating and losing ground, and the opposition knows if they negotiate, Assad will go back against them after the ceasefire. It's very bleak in Syria at this point in time.
Okay, so lots going on with the air campaign over Syria. Yesterday, the downing of a Jordanian plane. Now, initially, ISIS, of course, claimed responsibility that they shot the plane down. I'm a former Navy fighter pilot, and I thought that was kind of a joke. The U.S. government saying it was not shot down. But how do you think this is going to impact the coalition moving forward?
Well, anything Air Force, you're very familiar with that, I suppose. I was concerned that a plane went down. That's the first point. The more grave concern is the fact that ISIS seized dozens, if not hundreds, of anti-aircraft missiles. Now, those missiles are not going to stay in Syria. They're going to spread to Iraq. They're going to spread to other places where ISIS is getting supporters, including in North Africa and Libya. That would be a major, major concern for the international community, not just for the Syrian battlefields, in my view.
All right. Dr. Walid Fares, thank you for joining us. Good insight.
Thank you for having me.